Recording in progress.
Hey, good evening. Good evening. I hope that music didn't make you sad or put you to sleep. Hey, welcome to Set It Up Sunday. I am Renita Alexander, the leadership locksmith. I can't get it out. I am your host for this weekly conversation that we have every Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So hopefully you got your clocks turned back, are enjoying that extra time. I haven't been too confused with the time change today. So come on in the room. I wanted to create a little bit of a live moment to give people an opportunity to come into the room. Set It Up Sunday is my weekly conversation about all the ways we can set up our lives to be successful. And we all have different definitions of success. What's your definition of success? If you're here live, just share that with the rest of the group. What does success mean to you? And if you catch us after the fact, if you catch this after the fact, you can still do that. You can still write your definition of success in the comments. Or if you don't want to do that, if you're here live and you just want to say hello, you don't want to share, that is perfectly okay. I've been thinking about this definition of success. Not that, I have a definition that is, the definition. It's my definition because it's personal. And whatever way you define success, you do have to be intentional about it. And the primary premise for Set It Up Sunday is intentionality. And if your definition of success doesn't require you to really do anything, then you are truly at the mercy of the people and the circumstances you encounter. Okay, I hear you. You are a human being, not a human doing. But all that really means is that your sense of self is not overly connected to some external accomplishments. And here's another one: you are a Christian, you're a believer, and you are relying on God, as you should. But even as a believer, there are things you have to do. I mean, I'm a believer and I still have to read and meditate on the lessons in the instruction manual. I still have to follow to the best of my ability the teachings I read. And if I don't understand what I'm reading, you know what you have to do. You know what I have to do. I have to get some understanding. We can't always expect to, really escape the consequences or even the rewards of our choices and the actions. So we really want to make sure those choices and actions are in alignment with what we want, what we dream about. And that takes intentionality. So that's my little tangent, my little, I got off on a tangent when I was thinking about this, but I really want to talk about dreams today. Um, and I've been talking about that. I've been posting on social media as I want to do, following a topic pretty much during the week, and then, sort of culminating in the discussion on Sunday evening. And I chose dreams intentionally. I had two reasons for choosing dreams. And the first one is I had a dream come true last weekend. So I had a dream about a conference way back in the fall, winter of 2018. And it finally happened last weekend. It was a conference originally planned for February 2nd, 2020. So 0202 2020, which is a palindrome, which is a word or phrase or sequence that reads the same backward and forward. So whichever way you look at it, it says the same. And it's supposed to be lucky. But anyway, it was just the date that we had chosen. And then the primary sponsor for the conference unexpectedly had to move. And not only did that impact the sponsorship, but it impacted our location because we were planning to use the location of the sponsor. And so we had to look for a new location. And then the move of our sponsor was delayed, and we were asked to move the date. So our palindrome date wasn't going to work anymore, so we were asked to move the date. And so we delayed it about, I don't know, 8 months. And then we were asked to scale down from our original plan. Now, by that time, I was feeling a little defeated. I admit I had a kind of a hard time reimagining a new event. And then COVID happened. And the dream just kind of faded into the background until I started attending all of these online conferences. I don't know if you've probably been to some. And our primary sponsor moved into this beautiful historical spot right on Michigan Avenue. And relationships that didn't exist formed. And the right people with the right talents came into our, our awareness. And even the way people are doing conferences has changed. Conferences are a little bit more intimate. People are doing a lot of hybrid conferences. And so, all of those things really needed to happen for the conference that we had to be even more than we could have imagined. And it was. It was even more than, my feeble little brain could have imagined. It was so needed. And everyone that attended commented on how necessary it was and how they really enjoyed the space, and even the folks that were virtual enjoyed the sense of community that was created. And I was reminded that there's a couple of things that I remembered as a result of this and that the first one is a dream delay might just be a delay. It doesn't necessarily mean that it won't happen, that it shouldn't happen. And sometimes it's not a no, just a not yet. And you've probably heard both of those sayings, but just because what we're dreaming about doesn't happen right away doesn't mean that it won't happen. And I was reminded of another thing, and that is when we combine the talent to fulfill our dreams with the determination to not be deterred from our dreams, as well as the tenacity to stay on the journey to achieve our dreams become our reality. And that's exactly what happened last weekend. So, how do we do that? How do we stay committed? How do we recognize or realize the things that we're dreaming about and make those things actually happen? So I have some tips for you because, that's what I do on Sundays. So the first one is to give yourself some space to discover what your dreams really are. And then the second part of that is to kind of maybe separate what you're dreaming from what other people may be dreaming for you. And that depending on your age, by the time you get to a certain point in your journey, you may feel more comfortable about making sure that the dreams you're having and what you're doing is actually for you. But depend again, if you're younger, you may be fulfilling the dreams that your parents had for you, or even if you're not younger, you could be fulfilling those dreams, or you could be fulfilling dreams that no longer inspire you. Dreams that you had when you were younger that just aren't filling you up anymore. And there may be things that you aren't doing that you always dreamed of doing. My personal example is I always wanted to be in the fitness industry. Which brings me to the second point, which is the second tip, which is to identify those obstacles which are holding you back. Now, there are real obstacles, but they're also obstacles that we've created, right? So we think we can't do what we're dreaming about, and we become afraid to try, which takes me to my point about the fitness industry. So I just said it was something I had always wanted to do. And when I had an opportunity to do it, I created an obstacle for myself. And it was just basically fear that I would not succeed at something that I had wanted to do. And I'll be talking about those obstacles all week, starting tomorrow during my Unblock Your Barriers Masterclass. So, the third tip is to kind of design and document a specific plan for achieving your dream. What are the steps? What are the goals that you're trying to get to? What are the steps to reach those goals? What do you need to learn? What do you need to develop? What are the habits you need to create? What resources do you have? What do you need to acquire? What do you need to know? Right? And then document all of that as you figure that out. And then you just got to do it. Now, that doing it may include developing some productivity tools, some hacks that will help you act on your plan. An example is I just heard about this concept of chunking, which is the way I understand it. I may be describing it incorrectly, but within that time that you've set aside to do a particular task, is to take chunks of time where you're actually actively working on that thing that you have set aside time to do, and then kind of taking a break and using your timer, your phone, or whatever you use as a timer, and setting aside that time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long, and then, going back to your task when the timer goes off. And what I love about that is I know sometimes for me, because I frequently work at home, I will go off and do something and then I'll go do something else. And so I just learned about this last Tuesday, and I've already used it to just keep me on track to doing the things that I have said I'm going to do. So, and then the last thing that I want to share is, dream some more. After you do it, dream some more. And, there's something about documenting your plan, getting all of that out of your memory that frees up some brain space for us to dream and to create. And so it also creates accountability. Documenting creates some accountability. And so, I just gave you 5 tips. None of this is linear. So I don't want you to think that that's, it's a step by step, but it is about being intentional. It's about, you intentionally setting aside time to think about some of the things that just require some reflection about, reflecting about what it is that you're dreaming about, what it is that's stopping you, and then the more concrete things that come with designing and documenting. And then, of course, the execution piece, which is just to do it. It's a process, and maybe your process is different, and that's okay. In fact, if you have a process that you use to sort of bring your dreams to fruition, please share it in the chat, in the comments. But whatever you use, the key is to be intentional so that your choices and your actions are in alignment with your dreams. And that does take intentionality. Okay. And then the second reason I wanted to talk about this is because, as I already mentioned, I start my masterclass on Monday at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. And as I mentioned already, I'll be sharing kind of my unique way of describing the things that stop us from living our dreams. There will be, 6 nights. I'll be talking about the things that stop us from living our dreams. I'll also be doing some giveaways. So there'll be homework that you have to do to be eligible to be a part of our giveaways. I'll be giving away some things that are a part of my business. I'll also be giving a scholarship to my leadership chromosome coaching program, group coaching program. So if you are interested in any of that, by the way, the masterclass is free. So if you're interested in any of that, it's all right here in the Facebook group. All the information about it is in the Facebook group, as well as other social media platforms that I'm on. So just look for me for Leadership Unlocked on Twitter and IG. Instagram, and my name on LinkedIn. So anyway, I'm a minute over my 15 minutes, so I don't want to do that. Thank you so much for joining me if you're here live, and I will be right back here next Sunday for Set It Up Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your evening.